Yo, what is going on, everybody? So welcome to episode 20 of the Philly Sports Talk Podcast Afternoon Show. Not just, even though the show was originally my idea, but obviously with having Tyler with me, it makes it a lot much more easier. So, this week, just a bunch of NFL stuff, basically, because, and, a couple something.
The theme of this week is blunders, because there's been a lot of blunders this week alone.
Just, First thing on the docket before we talk about the NFL playoffs, the Colts choking away a 33-point lead. What the fuck?
And the kicker is, Rob, that was the worst blown lead in NFL history.
I mean, you cannot write this shit. Like, you cannot script this shit. You really can't. Like, we thought it was like, okay, so the Colts are going to run away with this, but knowing that you had Matt Ryan at the helm, like, history's going to tend to repeat itself. And lo and behold.
But here's the thing: when it became 33-0, you didn't expect them to come back like that. You didn't expect.
Yeah, that's what I originally thought. But like I said, when you had Matt Ryan as your starting quarterback, and
I know, but 20-3 is a lot easier than 33-0 to come back from that.
But I mean,
here's the thing about this. I've said this for weeks since the guy got hired. Jeff Saturday is unproven. He doesn't belong as head coach. I've said this. He got that fluky win to start his coaching career.
Almost in the NFL. Wins, if you really think about it.
Two fluky wins. Yeah, two fluky wins.
Almost
beat us, which was honestly pretty impressive, but he choked that game.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The last time a lead that big was blown, it was 34-3, and it was the Bills game when Frank Reich gets quarterback.
Yeah.
You're literally a field goal and minus a point in that differential, but you're missing a field goal because you were up 33-0 and you blew that. Wow. Like
I say, you can't script this shit.
You couldn't even script it better than that for the Vikings to come back like that.
And I got to say, congrats to the Vikings clinching the NFC North, which surprisingly has been that long since the last time the Vikings actually clinched a division title, which surprisingly was 2017. History. I won't say history would tend to repeat itself, but you know how that kind of turned out with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah. But here's the thing. This time it's a bit better for the Vikings because they have a better quarterback. They had Case Keenum, who had a very fluky season that year.
And Kevin O'Connell, I'll give him a lot of props too in his first year, though, taking a team that we all thought had, let's be real, was great offensive, but their secondary is just absolute.
Yeah, the only
terrible.
problem the only problem that they really had was the defense. The offense is pretty good.
I mean,
Kirk Cousins isn't a bad quarterback. He's not the greatest quarterback ever, but he's like
right in that middle of the pack.
Justin Jefferson is a great wide receiver.
Adam Thielen.
Thielen's still there.
You got T.J. Hawkinson, which that trade caught me off guard. It's like, what the hell? Where did the hell did this come from?
When they traded for TJ, that was one of their better moves.
That really caught me off guard, trading to an division. But then again, yeah, I mean, they're not the only team that to do it. I mean, we kind of did it ourselves, but that was on draft day. For a search and draft.
That was draft day, but not mid-season. They did that.
No, that is like that just caught me off guard. But You know,
But for them to be 7-win team at best for the last few years, and then to go from 7 wins to 11, wow, 12 now,
they're 11-3.
11-3, yeah, so 11 wins.
Could have been 12 if it weren't for that. Their third, if it weren't for the third loss against Detroit.
Yeah. That
can we talk about Detroit for can we talk about Detroit for 1 second?
I'm telling you about Detroit. They're going to run the table. I'm telling you.
Oh, and we'll get to the Raiders in just a second because what the hell, New England?
Oh my God! What was that? You know what? Forget the Lions. Yeah, they won and they're 7-7. They will go 7. It's not that shocking. But let's talk about the end of the Patriots and Raiders game.
What the hell was that?
You go for a lateral, right? Go for a lateral. You could have just knelt or fell to the ground. Went into overtime, fine and dandy. You could win. You could try to win the game in overtime, but you tried to play hero ball. You tried to lateral it back. You airmail it, and the guy intercepts it for pick 6 to end the
Good
game
old Chandler
in
Jones.
regulation.
And speaking, we have a special guest coming on stream. What up, Mitch?
Yo, big news really quick before I head off. Tyler, I talked to my buddy Tyler, and he is down for Tyler Squared.
T Squared is on. T Squared is on.
He is down once he gets his computer, once he gets his tax return or whatever BS he said. I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, it looks like in January or February, T Squared 2023.
Let's go. I'm telling you, Tyler and Tyler, T Squared, it's gonna work.
Yeah, he is so down for it. Just want to make sure. And yeah, I'm gonna let you guys continue your show. And yeah, I got in like a half hour.
Appreciate
All
that,
right, man. Thanks for the announcement.
Yeah, man. I'll talk to you later. And Tyler, and Philly halftime on your show tonight too.
Yep. Philly halftime on the show tonight,
at 6 o'clock Eastern time.
Live on the Hardcore Sports Network.
There you go.
You're in for a good show, y'all. You're in good.
You want to produce it together, me and you, because I may have to head out early.
Yeah, I might be down for that.
You know what? Cool. You know what? You know what? Let me tell you. Let me get this. This is my show. So Mitch and Rob. Mitch and Rob. You both are producers together. Rob, you're hired.
Woo! Wasn't he already fucking hired?
He was already freaking hired. I don't know why you asked if you want to produce. He's already hired.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's just.
All right. Rob, I'll talk to you later about Brant, whatever that guy's name is you're texting me.
Oh yeah, NFL boy Brandon. He's a good
guy. He's a good guy. I like him. But yeah, guys, I'll continue with your show. I got some shit to do.
I appreciate that, Mitch. We greatly appreciate that.
And by the way, damn, I was gonna say something funny and I forgot it. Fuck. Oh, but damn it.
You really got poor delivery on this joke.
I was gonna say what number is funnier than 24?
25.
There you go, bitch.
All right, Mitch. Appreciate that. But yeah, shout out to Mitch.
I'm so gonna make that joke in April. I don't care what anybody says. Dude, I'm making that joke in April.
But like I said, going back to before we got thrown off the beaten path, but you know, we knew that the Patriots they're always gonna have a down year, and the fact you have a defensive minded guy.
I didn't expect them to have that much of a drop off compared to last year. Last year they were a pretty good team. This year they dropped off mightily, and it's not because of Mac Jones or anything. He's gotten better over the course of the season. Yeah, part of the slow start was his because he did have that slow start himself, but he's gotten better.
Oh yeah, and it's just,
but the problem is the team around him causes so many blunders.
Yeah,
dude, I'm wondering what the heck is Bill Belichick even saying before practice today? My God, he's probably chewing that team out.
What up, AK? Yeah, I mean, after that play, someone's getting their ass chewed out badly after that.
I forgot who it was, but he said he actually owned up and he said, "Look, I panicked. look, I was trying to be the hero. I tried to play hero ball. It didn't work because I airmailed it and it got intercepted. So it's my bad. But the thing is,
Yeah,
you
it just
should have just went down.
yeah, just went
Didn't
to
need-
overtime.
But here's the thing: where he was on the field, go down. If Bill and the Patriots have a timeout, call timeout. You're in field goal range at that point. Kick a field goal, win the game there.
Yeah, but
But no. What happened? He airmails it. It gets intercepted for a pick six, and the Raiders won.
and speaking of pick sixes, I think we're and if you might not see my TikTok that I posted like last night. How about Rayson Jenkins picking up? Hey, Dallas fans, are you okay
dude,
out there?
Dallas.
That was
Wow.
great.
Wow.
You want to talk about?
Dallas. I'm gonna pick on you even more at 6:00. By the way, I'm gonna pick on you
trust
even
me.
more.
That's two
But how?
as a key. Like, not to mention, dude, that's 2 weeks in a row they got humbled by two below 500 teams. Houston,
And not to mention too, Dak Prescott has now got 10 interceptions
since he came back since week 7.
since he came back. 10.
I mean, look,
Oh,
Look,
he's the guy, and the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl. No,
I mean, look, Dak Prescott. The way that I see it, I don't think Dak Prescott was a terrible quarterback in some standards.
but he's
obviously,
not as great as Cowboy fans are saying he is.
I
not.
mean, I've seen some better Cowboys quarterbacks,
Heck, even Troy Aikman was better than him.
but unfortunately, we did kind of force Troy Aikman early into retirement.
The only person that wasn't better than Dak Prescott was Tony Romo. That was it.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that was Tony Romo was a whole different yikes.
He had some good years,
so
and he had some bad ones.
Man,
to,
just
like,
Tony
follow
Romo
up
has just
with
been inconsistent.
He was up and down his entire career.
I
He's
mean,
a better commentator. He was a crappy player.
I mean, but in the end, though, I mean, the Cowboys throw in the playoffs after the Commanders lost. Well, let's go nuts to us for us to see that. But unfortunately, the Giants being shorthanded beat the Commanders on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday Night Football.
I think part of that was coaching blunders.
Yeah, it's just look. I think CD's having a great year. I think Tony Pollard,
for sure.
I mean,
and honestly, wait, what you were saying?
Adam, we just talked about that. We just talked about the Raiders and Patriots game. That was
how do you airmail a lateral like that?
I mean,
how?
If you talk about the NFL having blunders, that
was the biggest blunder of the week. My God,
it's
that was a game deciding blunder. Oh my God. I didn't watch that game because I was out. I was at a Christmas party. I even missed the Eagles game too. But how do you airmail a pass like that? And then it just, oh my God. All right, back to the game we were talking about, Commanders Giants.
But yeah, I mean, the Giants being shorthanded to the where they actually overcame, and the Commanders, from what I saw at a short sample size, did not play great football. And it looked like the Giants had other ideas, and unfortunately,
here's the thing: the Commanders, they're kind of on the downswing again a little bit. They didn't play great football, like you said. Yes, the Giants know how to win now,
especially with being shorthanded at the same time.
Being shorthanded, they figured it out. Also, Daniel Jones is not as bad as people think he is.
It's just
he's developed.
And I said this too. Is this thing called time? Now, granted, Daniel Jones, even though he wasn't given the best hand he was dealt with,
no, he was given. Here's what he was given with: a bad offensive line, no receivers.
decent
Now he's given-
defense.
and a decent defense. But here's the thing. Now he's got an offensive line to work with, a great running game, great passing game,
It's just
good defense. So
could use a lot more. Because obviously, especially since they did decline his 5th-year option, which is going to be very interesting because you got to
I
finally
think
get.
the reason why they declined his 5th-year option was for them to go, prove your worth. And he's
Yeah.
proven his worth. So-
I mean, just at this point, if I'm the Giants, and this is a shout out to Jeffy and Mac, the Giants fan, probably the and even Adam Costas too, probably the 3 greatest Giants content creators me and Tyler have met.
Yeah. Really, really good dudes. Really good content.
And they know where their team lies, and
Yeah.
and we could definitely see it. Like they could use some extra O-line help. They definitely could use some fucking receivers because good God, I mean,
They need to get rid of Kenny Galladay.
dude, but who wants to take on that contract? That's always the biggest issue.
Nobody, because they overpaid for a guy who didn't even play well.
I mean,
last few seasons,
like Sterling Shepard just has not really been the same, because was constantly getting injured. Slayton is sometimes nowhere to be found on the milk carton,
dude, and that's shocking because Slayton's really good.
Slayton's been. I had a fucking draft with Josh fantasy because he's constantly was shit the bed the last 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's like the most shocking
thing about my Slayton.
Ever.
I mean, look, Sterling Shepard. I mean, since tearing that ACL, which was kind of unfortunate, the fact that it was a non-contact injury, and I can see where the NFL Players Association is making that argument. That turf has to go and be in favor of natural playing surface.
That's like the worst turf ever.
Not just
that's inexcusable to have a turf like that.
Not just
players.
I mean, I've seen. I mean, the fight. Well, I mean, like us. I mean, they should even show studies that that natural, like playing on natural grass, lessens more injuries than actual artificial turf. Places
look at us. Once we played on artificial turf against one of those teams, I forgot who it was. 5 guys were going down on our side, like 5.
I think it could have been the Giants.
Avante went down. Gardner went down.
That was
somebody else went down. It was just like, oh my gosh.
I
think it was the Giants.
I think it was. And then we come to find out that Gardner gets a lacerated kidney, which after taking that shot to the ribs,
dude.
But
you hit your kidney hard enough, you're gonna get cut.
Like,
because that's blunt force. Because you get that when you get hit like super hard, blunt force trauma.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And there's always this biggest question that posting around the Vikings, which I thought I want to kind of ask: are the Vikings legit or are the actual frauds? For me, I think they're legit to the point where I think they could use a new quarterback in 2023 because I think Kirk Cousins' contract does end up this year after the end of the season. So we'll see how, because I still think they're legit. I mean, at times they've shown like they played like they're frauds, but I still think they got a really good team around them, but they just have to build up that defense because that secondary is absolute trash at times.
God, that secondary is like very, very.
They got a decent linebacking core. They got a good front 7, but that secondary is just ass.
Oh my God.
And this all stemmed the fact when Xavier Rhodes and Anthony Barr left that team.
Yeah, once Anthony Barr left, that was their dad. That was the nail in the coffin. That was the nail in the coffin, right there.
Well, we got to see what the seeding's looking like, but it could be possible. But I don't see the Vikings be a first round exit. But there's a couple teams I think could be first round exits. Definitely Tampa Bay. I know it could be one of them, but we'll see how that goes. But it's just, I mean, for this week in NFL to have multiple blunders, like you can't script that shit up and no matter what years in NFL history, you cannot script like 1 week full of blunders. Like we said, the Patriots choke it, with the walk-off pick 6 to the Raiders. Cole's blowing a 33-point lead and lose by.
Also another blunder too, the Jets game.
Yeah.
So you have like a minute left in the game. Or no, you have 53 seconds left in the game. You have so much time. You decide to throw the ball with Zach Wilson. That's fine. Zach Wilson, he was throwing dots in that time frame.
And
But-
he had a really good stat line.
But not every. But here's the thing. You get the first down. Wouldn't you call timeout with a few like 50 something seconds left or 40
Yeah,
something seconds left?
at least stop the clock.
Every single first down that they don't go out of bounds. First down, timeout. First down, timeout. They're in field goal range. First down, timeout. Or if they get to maybe even 5 yards on maybe third down, first down, timeout, kick a field goal, win the game. What happens? He doesn't call timeout. They were forced to kick a 50-something yard field goal. Next thing you know, they miss it.
It's
and then the other team gets close, hit it, done.
I mean, shout out to Detroit though, man, for all the shit that they have been through this entire year.
They were leading at the time. They were leading.
Yeah.
Hold on. So they kick a field goal, they miss it, Detroit wins. They could have tied it up. But the problem was the coaching was not calling timeouts when they needed to call the timeouts.
And Zach
Robert Saleh lost in that game.
I mean, and we're not saying Robert Saleh's a bad coach by any stretch of the means.
He's not a bad coach. He had a bad.
The only time he's ever made that one bad mistake was just bad clock management.
Yeah. We were.
And the Jets wouldn't be where they're 7-7. The Jets are 7-7.
They wouldn't be where they wouldn't even be where they are without Saleh. But here's the thing. Yeah, he had one coaching blunder. We're not saying he's a terrible coach because he's been a great coach all season.
I mean,
he just had a crap He had a crap hand to deal with the quarterback situation because Mike White goes down, Zach Wilson's in the game, and you know how Zach Wilson is. He's very hit and miss.
But this time he actually played pretty well against the Lions.
He hit, but they still lost because of his coaching blunder. If he didn't have that coaching blunder and he was calling timeouts properly, they would have tied the game. Zach Wilson probably would have went in overtime and won that game.
And to add this to more, now the Patriots now own this, or right now sitting in number 7 with the Jets loss, because that was big playoff implications for both teams. With the Detroit win, they move further up and to get to that number 7 spot. If the Jets win, they still hold that number 7. So, that's what we're saying. The Jets lose. It's going to. But I still.
They lost their playoff hopes. But right now, I don't think they've lost it completely
because no other spots is locked up from what.
No spots in that lower half of the seeding chart is locked up. You can still sneak in at 7 or one of those.
I mean, look what. I'll make references. Look what did. Look what us last year. We snuck in as this number 7 seed. Yeah, and we got our ass kicked.
We were 2-5. 2-5. And we thought when we had that 5th loss, playoff hopes are dead. We ran that table, we got back into it, got the 7th seed, got in the playoffs. Yeah, we got murdered by Tampa Bay, but we won.
But yeah. And like I said, go back to with the Lions. I mean, even though the much shit that they've been through over decades at this point, being the NFL's laughing stock for 10, 15, 20 years, maybe even longer than that.
The Lions?
Yeah, the Lions.
The Lions have only been a laughing stock since after Megatron.
It's just. But right now, so far the only
you can say they were the laughing stock before Megatron though, because they had
that's what I'm saying.
But you saying they've been a laughing stock since the early 2000s.
Even when they had Megatron,
they haven't been because they had that break where they weren't a laughing stock. Technically they weren't since after Megatron. But here's the thing though, in the 2000s they were a huge laughing stock because they had a quarterback who didn't know where the heck he was on the field.
Yeah, that Dan Orlovsky blunder. I still laugh at that almost 20 years later. This gets me. It's like, how the hell do you not know where you're on the field? That's the worst part of being, if you want to be a quarterback, you should know where you're at most of the time.
You should know where you are on the field. You look down, you see that there's a white line where your feet are. It's not where you're supposed to be.
And unfortunately, we actually. And it's funny though. Actually, that ties into modern day where Jimmy G pulled the Dan Orlovsky blunder at the same time.
But here's the thing: it wasn't as obvious because he had that 1 foot out. Orlovsky was just out.
Yeah,
out.
that
He was like
just
running out.
Yes.
I was like, how the hell?
But so far, when it comes to the teams that clinched a playoff spot, was the Bills, the Chiefs clinched their division.
We clinched.
Right now, the Bengals are right now with the win over. Right now, they're 10-4. They can clinch the North, and they could definitely clinch the North over the Baltimore Ravens, which I would actually want to talk about.
Yo, the Ravens collapsed.
What the hell is going with the Ravens?
And now you have the fan base trying to clamor for the GM to get fired. Coach, they're not clamoring for John
Harbaugh's not that bad of a coach. It's your defensive coordinator's absolute ass.
And it's the defensive coordinator too.
But I will say
they're trying to get the GM. They're trying to get the GM and the defensive coordinator out of there.
My buddy Tiger Raven, who's a loyal subscriber to the channel, is like, yeah, it's the mostly defensive coordinator because the GM can do so much, you know. And I mean,
yeah, the GM can only do so much. But here's the thing: he can get quality players to combat things. Look at us; we have a not so great defensive coordinator ourselves, but the defense has enough players for him to get bailed out.
And this is funny too. Shout out to Joey. And Joey Shakes actually put up a good point. Like, Gannon actually, as much shit we give Gannon, like he's actually come out. He actually had to talk to his players, like to give him feedback on his play calling, his consistent play calling. And
he's gotten better. Look at yesterday, right? We didn't have the best game on offense, but on defense, we had a great game.
Even though it was you've been like I'd never say to be in Chicago, but that shit was fucking cold.
But here's the thing. I think you jumped the gun on Gannon yesterday. Oh, fire Gannon. Gannon sucks. He had a great game yesterday.
Technically, I was actually going after Shane Steichen that time.
No, you said fire Gannon on Facebook. I saw the status.
Yeah, well, you said but I will say this too. And going back to the Baltimore defense, a lot of people are not talking about how good of a season that Kyle Hamilton's going. Now, people are going to say, and there's going to be some people say, oh, we couldn't see Kyle Hamilton. It's like, first of all, you don't know what our needs are. And, obviously defensive tackle was one of our needs because Fletcher guys ain't getting fucking younger. Now, could we get a safety? Absolutely. But either way.
Here's the thing. Rookie safeties, it's kind of hit and miss with us.
Yeah.
We whiffed on a lot of them. But here's the problem. Now. Some of them were trapped deep in the depth chart, so they weren't really given a chance.
That is true.
But you got to think, too, there's a reason why they're deep in the depth chart is because they weren't good to become a starter.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they've gotten the chance to showcase their skills in preseason, they somehow sucked.
Yeah,
so that's why they're so deep.
Yeah, you don't want to. That's the bad. And even like I said, I can't say because I never played the game of football. Which, like if you fold under pressure, that's not a good look. That is not a good look you want to have as a professional athlete at all.
I do love the fact that we actually have legitimate linebackers, though.
I mean, Nakobe Dean looks good in a short time.
Nakobe Dean's doing what he did in college, plugging the holes for the run game. TJ Edwards, he's doing the same thing.
I mean,
his passing defense sucks, but his run defense is really, really good.
But
we have Kaiser White, who's really good.
And thank you, Chargers, for him. So I think we're going to give him an extension. So we're going to give most of the guys who are on these expiring contracts at least a cheap extension from what I've been seeing or what I've been hearing. Which
that's smarter to do that. Give him cheap extensions.
Well, I mean, Kaiser White's still young. He's like 24, 25. So you still got at least, I don't know what the actual lifespan of a linebacker is, but probably a lot longer. I would say a lot longer than a running back because running backs they just do not age well.
Running backs, it's like you have 5 years and you're done in the league.
And
5 years done.
I mean,
it's because they try to do this like flashy, elusive stuff and it like tears their ligaments
like the jump cuts. It's not like what we saw in the 2000s. Like people just
running through guys. Yeah, they're just running through guys.
Yeah, like
now it's like I gotta do this flashy move to break this guy's ankles and then just run up and just run.
The only person and like this all ties to the fact that look at Zeke. Zeke, even though Zeke doesn't have the explosiveness, but he's found other ways to be a good running back. Even though Zeke's not having the greatest year,
they use him mainly for like short yardage.
And
like if it's like 2nd and 1, 3rd and 3, they use him.
And that's very smart, especially at the point of where Zeke is in his career, because I mean you got Tony Pollard, who's a better. I mean, we all could admit is a better back, but in terms of explosives and just a lot younger. And and Cowboys fans don't come. We're just state the obvious, and and look, don't hate Zeke whatsoever. I think he's still a good talent. Now, granted, I mean, was he worth that $90 million extension? Absolutely not. But at one point did he deserve an extension? Absolutely. Was it it's just a guy like Jerry Jones, and it's just he just knows how to give up bad contracts, and it's kind of I mean when the Cowboys are desperate, they picked up T.Y. Hilton. They might whip on OBJ. It's like, what other money do they have left? You let Dak hold out for quite some time. Give him the extension you kind of give him. I don't know. Well, that's other than that, but my thing is, and especially with Derrick Henry and going with the Titans too, which, to be quite frankly, I think the Titans are frauds the way that they've been playing. Because
honestly, I think they're going to lose out and miss the playoffs at this point.
Bro, could you imagine the Jaguars somehow take the division away from the Titans? That would be fucking crazy. Of how much 1 year can do for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 6-8, so they're one game back in the division. So
if they win a division somehow, I can see them going maybe 8-9 and still getting it, or maybe 9-8 and still getting it.
And Trevor Lawrence. I mean, finally we're actually seeing what, and how me and Tyler just rant and rave on him.
We ran and rave, and we were like, when is he going to be good? And then next thing you know, this year he's amazing.
I'm going to give a lot of credit to Doug Peterson for really fixing that. I really give a tremendous amount of credit.
But really, are we even shocked about it?
No.
Because it's Doug Peterson we're talking about. Same guy who got us a championship.
Absolutely not. But I mean, especially with what the Jacksonville have done this past all season, get us a wide receiver help, which granted, that's probably one of the best thing they could have done. And especially getting Ryan Sharp, but unfortunately, the dude can't stay fucking healthy. But thank you, Travis Etienne. When he's healthy, great for the team and great for me in fantasy.
And let's talk about the Jaguars game for a second. Jaguars and Dallas on their side this time.
Yeah, it's just
Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne look like what they did in college.
Yeah, that's the best combo you can have.
And that's the greatest combo. Like if you saw them in college, you know that him and Etienne are like the deadliest combo ever.
Yeah. But like I said, when Travis Etienne is healthy, I mean, it's night and day.
He would be one of the top tier backs in the league if he stayed healthy. I don't know why he has all these health injury problems now that he's in the league, because he was relatively healthy in college.
Yeah. But I mean, I think there's also some fact when he tore he tore his ACL during preseason. That kind of pretty much ended what could have been his rookie season. But then again, the benefit of and they also at the time they still had James Robinson, and there was a bit of a running back controversy over there. And this is still at the time we still had Urban Meyer, and as 1 year moves on for the Jaguars. Look, I'll give the Jaguars a lot of credit though. As much shit we give them for being a below average team, the fact that they're 2 games under 500 is a huge turnaround. Now people say 6-8 a record's not great. Yeah, I mean face value, but you have to take it into the context of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who really has one of the better seasons since 2017. The only time we actually, I think, made to the AFC Championship game. And to be honest, having a quarterback that has played the game, and Doug Peterson, not one of the best but he's basically known as a quarterback whisperer. And we see Trevor Lawrence kind of each and every week starting to really show why he was the number 1 overall pick. had to take the right coach to do it. And I think Doug Peterson was the guy to really help Trevor Lawrence to be that
Yeah,
kind of
I kind of figured that was the problem too, because I'm thinking the reason why Trevor Lawrence played so bad last year under Urban Meyer, I'm thinking he's trying to get this guy fired. He's trying to get Urban Meyer fired.
the one thing that did it was kicking the kicker. That's pretty much what sealed it.
And I feel like that's what set Trevor Lawrence off, because he was like, you know what, I'm not even going to play ball for you.
It's funny too, Tyler. We actually talked about this too. He made some interesting comments on Urban Meyer at one point, and like, so he was taking some subtle shot. Like, how, like, especially how we talked about Derek Carr taking some subtle shots at Josh McDaniels. Same thing was applied to Trevor Lawrence. Saying some comments that was subtle shots to Urban Meyer, and yeah, I mean, we've seen just how much that locker room was just fucking toxic, especially with Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
And as much as we gave Shad Khan a lot of shit from being a horrible owner, at least he did the right thing and actually cut his ass. Got rid of Urban Meyer. First of all, he should have got. First of all, I would say should have got Doug Peterson a lot sooner than this year. That's what I would have thought. But looking at how everything else, I mean, the way that the Titans been struggling, it's. And I'll give like I said, the Jaguars deserves a lot of credit for holding their own against really good teams. Like, they're not the kind of team that you would expect them to get blown out on a weekly basis. Now, we've seen 30 plus games from the Jaguars, and actually put an occasional 40 every so often. Like, they're capable to put up really good amount of points.
Yeah, they're able to. Here's the thing about the Jags. They're so scrappy. Most of their losses that got them to that record, that 6-8 record, was the fact that they lost close games. They weren't able to close games out. Now they're learning to close games out. So I feel like they'll be one of the teams that runs the table. It'll be the Jags and the Lions that's going to run the table.
Because right now, I mean, because we know the AFC and the NFC South are wide open for any of this team, because they're just one of the weakest divisions of football, especially the AFC South. Knowing that where the Colts are standing, we know where the Texans are, because Texans are tanking at this point.
Yeah, they're like 1-12.
They're 1-12-1.
Yeah, so
yeah, and
might as well say 1-13.
Yeah.
So,
but and we've seen team, and also the fact of, and even and the way that especially as Eagles fans, how Doug Peterson is, like the fact that this, and we've seen Trevor Lawrence the last 2 to 3 weeks have over 300 plus yard games and like multiple touchdowns. Like, where the hell was this for most of the, like, we're finally now with it, everything goes things right. I think, to be quite honest, I think they could still steal the division away from Tennessee. Because and this also, and with Tennessee, like, what the hell? I don't know what the hell is going on with Tennessee. Because you would thought, like, oh, you got Derrick Henry and all this stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much their main source of offense, because they never really do much in the air. With guys like Treylon Burks, they really gave him a chance. Hopefully, the kid's okay after getting got hit hard against us. But knowing that you're a fighter GM, that organization is in shambles. The way that everything has gone so far through 14 games, for the Tennessee Titans, could be 15, depending on because Derrick Henry, like, and I like Derrick Henry. I think he's a really solid running back. But the problem that I have is he's not, like, I don't want to say not a problem, but the one thing I think people are starting to figure out how to beat Derrick Henry, because if you looked at last year, he was just pretty much running all over people with bad run defenses. Now we've seen teams actually improve that area of defense and actually locking them down. Because it's funny, because I said this too. I have said this too. I think Derrick Henry is going to have at least almost 100 yards on us. What do? We held him to 30 yards on like 11 carries. It's like, yeah. So it's like,
that's what you got to do. You got to plug up the holes, because he's a north-south runner. He's not an east-west runner like most running backs are. And if he is going to try to run east-west, he's not going to be the fastest guy to go east or west. You can set the edge easily on the guy. So I feel like the thing with Derrick Henry is it's like you said, they're figuring him out. They're exploiting exploiting the weakness there. And also they're exploiting the weakness with the wide receiving core. They have nobody because they traded their best player to us. Thank you to Tennessee for that. But they don't have anybody. They got rookies on that. They got rookies on the
Treylon
offense.
Burks, who knows what his injury status is. I mean, after suffering that concussion against us, and I think against us, but like we said, I mean, Tennessee. We always thought that there always been. I think there's always one team that's the fraud. Has always been the fraudulent team in the AFC South because that's the only team that's always constantly repeating to be division winners. Is like, let's be real. I mean, if you looked at it, I mean, have they got some good players? Absolutely, but the quarterback play isn't the greatest. Let's keep it a buck here. Like I said, no good decent receivers, and even Mike Vrabel himself saw how frustrated when he saw the news that when AJ Brown got traded to Philadelphia, he was frustrated.
He was mad. He was not frustrated. He was mad.
Yeah, because him and AJ Brown had a really close bond with each other. Even AJ Brown said, "Yeah."
He was absolutely angry.
Like I thought, so man, I really couldn't help feel bad for Mike Vrabel, and Mike Vrabel's a really good coach, by the way. Like you can't take that away from him. Now, granted, did he play in a bad division? Absolutely. I mean, good Lord, he played with the likes of the Texans, the Jaguars, and the Colts. Oh, damn. But another thing I want to kind of talk about is especially going back to what we said about the Colts and Matt Ryan. It's really time for him to retire at this point because after blowing that 33-point lead, it's really shown that just hang the damn spikes up. You're 37. You've done.
It's over. It's over. It's done. It's over. That game yesterday proved it's over for him.
Yeah, but
it's done.
It's
signed your little one-day contract with the Falcons. Retire. Be done with your career. It's your wash at this point. It's over. And I honestly thought initially going in because last year he was still a really decent quarterback.
I think he still had decent to offer at this point of his career. But
I thought going in, okay, he's gonna have a good season. I had this team maybe going 10-7, 11-5.
Nope. We look like complete idiots.
We look like morons.
But then again, that's all stemmed the fact that you have a coach with no professional coaching experience whatsoever. But
you got to think about it too, though. He came in mid-season. They started Frank Reich.
Yeah, and the fact that they fired Frank Reich was the dumbest decision that the Colts could have made. First of all,
not really. Because his play calling was iffy at best all season. Also, the dumbest decision I would say was hiring Jeff Saturday as interim manager or interim coach.
Like literally, for a guy that has not played in the league since the days of Peyton Manning. And
he has no college credibility either. He has no coaching credibility in college or the NFL. He was a high school coach for a little bit. He was 3-7.
And was also ESPN analyst at the same time.
And he was also an analyst who taught football. It's basically like hiring Joe Girardi or something.
Yeah.
He's not a coach.
And it's like, like the Colts really haven't really been. It's just like the Colts just been like, the Colts just been in the enigma the last few years, just of the decisions that they made. And like we said, this whole
the only good decision that they made post Andrew Luck retiring was getting Phillip Rivers.
Even though they had a
good season with him.
Just
the problem is that instead of drafting a quarterback, they traded for Carson Wentz, who's washed. And then instead of we're getting rid of Carson Wentz, let's draft a quarterback. They get another washed quarterback.
Like we said, and this is what we always said. This is all stands from the ownership.
Because they think, getting a veteran will solve our problems.
Hell no.
in cases when the quarterback is in his upper 30s, early 40s, it's not going to solve your problems.
And shit, like I said, going back to what Andrew Luck,
draft a quarterback.
Like literally, like it's not that hard, because if you really think about it, when the Colts had Andrew Luck for a period of time, like you can see how good the Colts can be, but just like I said, the ownership in the front office has not done Andrew Luck any justice whatsoever, and it's unfortunate.
Here's the problem that I have with the whole Andrew Luck thing. The problem that I have with the Andrew Luck thing is the fact that they didn't give him an offensive line except for twice.
Like
that was a 2015, 2016 season when he went 11-5, and then 2011. That was it. The rest of the time, the offensive line was borderline anemic. Wasn't even around. Holes everywhere on the offensive line. He was getting hit every single play, it seemed like.
Yeah, and it's just like you can see the frustration. And there are times
he gets hurt a lot. And then here's the thing: he was getting so frustrated. This is what he said in his press conference, his retirement press conference.
Well, it was good, Jerry, but yeah, it's just.
Hold on, let me finish. But this is what he said in his press conference, right? The reason why I'm retiring isn't because I don't love the game of football. Isn't because I don't like the fans. It's because it's a cycle.
Yeah. It's
play a game, get hurt, rehab, recovery. Play a game, get hurt, rehab, recovery. Rinse and repeat. Every single season since 2011.
Like, ever since then, the Colts has just been in a downward spiral. I mean,
they were already like circling the drain, so to speak, with the Andrew Luck situation, and now they're, but then they kind of, the water in the toilet stopped when Phillip Rivers came around, and then as soon as he retired, somebody flushed the toilet, and they're going down.
Don't forget too, like they went through quarterbacks like Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz. So that's the quarterback carousel that the Colts were dealing with right now.
Jacoby Brissett wasn't. I mean, he was terrible that year, but he wasn't absolutely the worst.
I mean, at best, it's just like with Andrew Luck, though, if you looked at what he did, like you can see how much happy and carefree and just like all that, like you can see just like he's finally free of just being like I said, beating out that rinse and repeat cycle of playing the game, getting hurt, and going to rehab and all this shit. It's like you at times, like when you see the injuries that has piled up, you couldn't help it. And this all stands back to Luke Kuechly, because Luke Kuechly retired in his prime, because of the same shit. Look what happened to Carolina's defense a little bit in the linebacking core.
But here's the thing: it was a lot different. Kuechly, because he was good, and he was relatively healthy for the most part until maybe the latter part of his career. Like the last 2-3 seasons, he was hurt. But literally, Andrew Luck was hurt for a decade because of this, and it took a toll on him. Kuechly, he was only hurt for like the last 3 seasons of his career. We all knew. But here's the thing: he was in his upper 30s, though.
Actually, he retired at 28.
Oh, I thought he was like 30-something.
No, he retired
like
young.
30, 31. But
yeah.
But here's the thing: his situation's a lot different than Andrew Luck. A lot different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did get hurt and he did retire early, but the difference is his body was starting to break down because of his position and whatnot.
True, that makes sense.
Andrew Luck.
Oh man, the dude was just getting hit left and right.
The guy was getting hit left and right. He was rolling his ankle left and right. He hurt his leg left and right.
I mean, he had
and also too. He was given no help by the GM.
I mean, like, hey, this is why. Like, I know a lot of times some pros don't hold grudges. I mean, if I were Andrew Luck at that point, like, yeah, I would definitely hold a grudge. Like, really, you couldn't fucking give me any help whatsoever. Like this is the issue that I had. This is always the biggest issue with the Colts. Like, and Tyler knows how much that I've kind of put Bauer on the grill, and he's part of that. He's part of the reason why. Well, then again, Bauer came in 2017. This was what after. No, when did no, when did Luck retire? Prior to 2017, or was it?
Yeah, it was. I think it was prior to 2017. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, look, Bauer still gets a bit of part of the grill, like I said, for some of his mistakes. But like I said, the majority of the grill belongs to Jim Irsay, and whoever the GM prior to Bauer coming in. Those should be really at that. And of all the shit that we've been hearing about, and I don't know exactly, someone was on the show that's brought it up. Like, there was a bit of a slight scandal that no one's kind of been talk about, and someone brought it up.
I think Randy brought that up.
Right? Yeah, it was Randy. Shout out to Randy for the fact that you had Perks in or something like that. Whatever the case may be, sell the damn team if that's the case. Because good Lord, like. Yeah, I mean, like, it seems like Jim Irsay is, like I said, we all knew that the Blues can't know how to run a franchise. He's already could have ruined a franchise quarterback in Andrew Luck, which they did. But it's just like the Colts just been, I don't know, like the Colts have just been, it's been,
it's just dumpster fire over there. That's all it is.
It's just like if Colts fans is like, what's it going to take to get change? I mean, you finally got O-line help. You finally got receiver help. But it always hands back to the quarterback. And this is what happens when you should have done that years ago.
They just, but here's the thing, though. Everything would have been rectified if they just drafted quarterbacks. The problem, I've said this countless times. Their problem is they try to get old, washed guys, and they can't do that. Get a rookie. Get a guy who's in college right now. Draft a guy. That's all you need to do. If he doesn't pan out, do it again.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, then we got some couple MLB news that, obviously with the MLB free agency coming towards the end, but to be honest, and that's a good point too. Like, they went way too early out of town because of that one fucking game that he's had. Well, then again, yeah.
Honestly, one shouldn't have been playing the league, period. If I had my way as a GM, he ain't playing the league.
But I could, and that's going to be interesting too. Where does Frank Reich go, or does he retire as a coach? Like, that should be the one.
Honestly, I can see him being either a quarterback's coach somewhere or an offensive coordinator.
I wouldn't be surprised if we go back to Doug Peterson. God, could you imagine him and Doug Pearson working with Trevor Lawrence? Good Lord, that's going to be.
I think that's one of the things I do see him as a quarterback coach in Jacksonville.
Because I mean, he's got the great amount of experience to do it. I mean,
he was a quarterback coach. He was a quarterback's coach for us,
and and also our offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he was quarterback's coach / offensive coordinator.
And John DeFilippo, well, let's actually going back that John, like, no one's ever talked about John DeFilippo. He just fall flat off the face of the earth after that Super Bowl year, and nobody really said it, and just became forgotten after that. But like, it's crazy too, like, just how much the NFL. I mean, I really actually enjoyed this year, even though I know this for the NFL season, but just this season or this week with a bunch of blunders, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what are we doing? Like what world are we in? Are we seeing?
I don't know.
I mean, shit.
Yeah, that was the league. What's the MLB news?
I mean, we saw that Dansby Swanson signing with the Cubs. There's really not much because, like I said, we're getting towards.
Yeah, we're not. There hasn't been heavy hitting signings except for Dansby going to the Cubs.
And I'm going to say this too. Kind of give a little bit of a message of Braves fans who are like Braves fans at times. I'm good friends with, but there's just some that are just complete morons in terms of how they act. Like, I mean, I bet somebody saw that the one clip that one guy tore a fat head of James B. Swanson off the wall. Really? Come on
dumb.
now.
It was dumb.
Like,
it was incredibly dumb when I saw it. I'm like, really, dude? The guy gave you everything, and you do that because he was like, oh, he instead of taking the money, he went to a team on a cheap deal. So,
like, and this is Slater, who's another Atlanta content
maybe
creator.
he didn't want money. Maybe he wanted a pay cut, and he wanted a team around him.
Yeah, I mean, true. I mean, think about it too. And going to the Cubs, I thought it was an interesting move because number one, you don't have that veteran presence that when like we mentioned, when Bryant left behind, Rizzo, Baez, all that what that World Series team had in 2016, they didn't have that veteran presence in that locker room. I think get someone like Swanson, I think was that one piece.
It's going to start it. I feel like they're closing in on the end of a rebuild, getting Swanson like that.
Because we didn't really think the Colts, not bad. I always said the Colts, but the Cubs rebound was that long. At least there were some pieces.
It was basically a year.
Yeah,
if you think, because they were good 2 years ago, and then they were just bad last year.
Yeah, and they play. But I think they got some good potential to enough. I mean, I think David Ross has done a really good job, and I think this is one of the times where former players who turned out to be good coaches actually have turned out well. David Ross has turned out to a pretty good one. Trying to think here.
He was dealt a bad hand. We're not saying that he's the greatest coach ever because we had that one good season under his belt, but we got to think too. Last year he was just dealt a bad hand.
Yeah, everybody, and it's going to be very interesting. Now that Contreras, you're going to have to see Contreras a couple times a year this season, which that's not going to be easy for Cubs fans to sit with. In terms of,
they're going to boo him to death.
And I can see why Wilson went over there. And let's be real, because the pitching situation over there in St. Louis was not the greatest, and neither was the Cubs. So either way, it's either like who's going to want on more. Are the Cubs going to keep him? And Contreras is 31, so you know how much you're going to get, much more you're going to get out of him. But I mean, if you get at least 4 or 5 good years, which it is a 5-year deal, so you can get those 5 good years out of Contreras, it still pays off because. Even though, unfortunately, it's ironic that we had to unfortunately retire part of our childhood. It sucks, but what?
Dude, it was like I'm happy we won, but I'm sad now.
I was like, what the fuck?
It was like after the game, we were happy, we were sad. It was like mixed emotions.
It was a bag of mixed emotions. Like
I'm like, I don't know how to feel. 2 of my childhood favorites are done, and we had to do
3.
It. I'm like, dang.
Miguel Cabrera is going to be gone too after the end.
But it hurt worse with Yachty and Pujols. We're the ones that had to retire him. I'm like,
yeah.
Hey.
And Poetic Karma, it came back to bite the Cardinals in the ass. But it was very unfortunate. But I mean, I mean, but look, I'll get the First of all, and we actually talked about this more than a couple times. First of all, Pujols should never have left St. Louis to begin with. There was no way in fucking hell he should have left.
The problem was the other coaches tried to change him, and it was just bad.
And then ever since going back to St. Louis, you can definitely tell the production, like he said, like he seems like never left.
Because the coaching staff basically said, "Go ahead and be yourself."
And and Yachty, I mean, look at the end of the day with the St. Louis Cardinals. They have 2 Hall of Famers at the end of the day. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Let's keep it real here. I mean, Yachty did 19.
You know for a fact Pujols is first ballot.
For a fact. The fact that he's like and we ain't going to see a guy like Pujols or anybody can reach the 700 home run club in forever because because I think it's going to be a hard feat to do that. And obviously, if Miguel Cabrera was a lot younger. I could definitely see that, but Miguel Cabrera is going to be another one that's going to be going, which that's going to hurt worse too.
After 2023, that's going to sting like a mother.
I mean, the only one that's still sticking, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt sticking around is Wayno, but at some point he's got to realize like how much time do you have left? That's what I'm thinking. It's just like. Not saying he deserves to retire, but at some point he's got to have to at least take that into consideration because he's not getting any younger either. I think
I feel like he's going to retire soon. I feel like it.
I think
he's been there since what, 04?
04. But prior to that, before getting drafted by the Cardinals, he was originally drafted by the Braves out of high school. And, I guess history does kind of, and
here's the thing. It was a supplemental draft. It wasn't the real draft. So
but I mean,
it's just basically saying, look, we're thinking that we're going to take you, but we don't know yet. Here's a placeholder.
But I mean, at the end of the day, man, I mean, shit. It's going to even hurt worse when Justin Verlander decides to retire because he's another one that's we've been around our childhood for years. Same with Max Scherzer.
I think here's the thing: him and his wife flipping us off last year. It's going to hurt worse now. They're rivals.
But I mean, the fact that, and add
so much tension. It's like,
especially going into this year, we do play we're going to be playing the Mets and. But at the end of the day, I mean,
and that's going to stay with. We're going to beat them last year. What do you expect us to do against Verlander? We're not going to have a chance
because Verlander, there's certain guys that get better as they age. I mean, look at David Ortiz. I mean, as David Ortiz got older, he became one of the better DHs in baseball, and rightfully so. Really deserved that Hall of Fame nod at the same time.
You couldn't throw anything to that guy in 2013.
Or and even later years too, or the point where he just had to drop the bat and shit like that and just walk because he knew that was going to be ball four. It's just like I just like how David Ortiz, you can't tell me there's a clutch player.
I think he kicked himself out, but yeah, David Ortiz is clutch.
Sorry. Whoops.
Did you just kick yourself out?
Accidentally, yes.
You pulled a me. I knew you did.
Yeah, because I have a gaming mouse. I have two buttons on the side. I actually hit the side button and kicked me out. But like I was saying before, I got brutally interrupted by kicking myself out. But my apologies for that.
You interrupted yourself. There was no interruption. You took yourself out.
But
you said bye.
But like I said, I mean, he's up with one of the clutchest players in postseason. You can't tell me David Ortiz. You can't tell me that dude has a clutch in it for a guy that the Twins gave up on him quickly, and the fact that they
gave up on him after his rookie season in
1997.
Or no. Oh wait, no, it was 97. He got drafted. I thought
no, he got drafted in 96. Not even lasted a year before he get DFA'd by the Twins in 97. And then here comes the Red Sox in 97, picks him up, and
it wasn't 9. No, he was there until 02, Rob.
02, thank you. Sorry about that.
It wasn't 97 that he got traded to. It was 02. And I think it was his rookie season because he was in the minors for however many years. He got his rookie season in 02. And then he got traded in 03 to the Red Sox.
And,
04 happens. And then,
they got 07, 2013.
07 happens. 2013 happens. All because of Big Papi.
Yeah. Talk about, you couldn't tell me that you had a future star on your hands. But
Boston was a star.
And I'll give Boston a lot of credit. Even though Boston, even though we do trash on them, and for good reason.
Oh, I trashed on them this year. I really trashed on them.
I mean, especially this year, they're going to be.
They're going to be bad this year.
Red Sox
but hold on, though. There was a free agent signing that was very, very shocking that happened yesterday.
What, for the Red Sox?
For the Red Sox.
Really?
Justin Turner.
Yeah,
is actually a Boston Red Sox now.
I mean, at this point,
honestly, it was shocking because he's still a good player.
I mean, even though defensively he's not. At this point, you should just keep him as a DH because his defense hasn't really been the best. I mean, he's decent defensively, but
he's okay. But here's the thing: decent's better than bad, so you can still keep him on defense.
Yeah,
look at us. We had decent defense.
Yeah, and
we were supposed to have the worst defense in the league.
Apparently,
that didn't happen. Apparently, we had one of the best defenses in the league.
And technically, this also stems the fact to when we brought back Bobby Dickerson, and I mentioned this a couple times too on our Phillies talk show. We had almost a four defensive war or
We were good.
We
We
at
were
least-
good defensively.
we were yeah. I mean we were good. I mean, well, at the time we still had Gabe Kapler as our manager, but we don't know how that turned out. But that's besides the
No.
point.
I'm talking about this year, not Gabe.
No, I'm saying before Bobby Dickerson left.
Oh yeah, we had a good defense then too. We just had
2019.
a crap. We just had like apparently we just had like a lineup that was so potent in September, and they were just bad in September.
But it's just, I mean, and like I said that too, and especially with that, especially the AL East, how that division, we know how that division is competitive. It's gonna be,
now we have teams like the Orioles coming around,
and they're gonna be better than you. And they're
dude.
Now, I will say we'll make fun of the Orioles for one reason. You still got to pay Chris Davis the remainder of his contract. That's the only thing we'll make fun of them.
You Padilla the guy.
Yeah, like.
But here's the thing, though. It's not as much as Padilla. Padilla has it until we're in our upper 30s, and they gave him that contract.
I'm not looking forward to
2000 or something. It was like 98 or 2000.
I think 2000. I think a little bit after 2000. I think it was.
Yeah, it was 2000 that they signed him to that deal. And they were like, after his retirement, they're still paying him until like 2030 something, and it was like we'll be in our upper 30s.
And it's like
I'll be like 38, 39 when they. The last time.
Do not mention. Oh my god! The fact that don't remind me because I am not looking forward to when I hit that 40 mark. Fuck that.
Listen. We're going to get older. It's what happens. But here's the thing. I'm just telling you, when the last time they're going to pay Bonilla, we'll be in our upper 30s.
Oh god, that's
how bad the contract is.
But I mean, like we said, the Baltimore Orioles are coming off their rebuild, and the fact that I like what Gunnar Henderson.
They went 83 and 79, and just missed the playoffs.
I think by a game and a half. Like that's
by
how close.
A game and a half. That's awesome. That's a really good step in the right direction. Yeah, albeit you didn't make the playoffs, but. I feel like the Orioles fans are not as mad at them for missing the playoffs because they were only missing the playoffs by a game and a half.
Like, because that AL wildcard race was very competitive.
Yeah, the entire AL last year was just so dominant, except for the Boston Red Sox, of course. But everybody else was in it to win it.
And it's just like, especially with the talent that the Baltimore Orioles had, when they brought up Gunnar Henderson, Allie Rutschman, the guy Ramon Urias is still a very solid player. Ryan Mountcastle, when he has a good season, I mean, it's a really good first baseman. I mean,
they have their core. They have their core.
Now, where the issue lies is part of their pitching staff. It's at times it's going to be you guys should be calling the question
But I feel like they did make some good free agent signings with their pitching staff. I do feel like they did stuff.
Yeah, especially for a team that has a very low payroll.
They have a super low payroll, but they've done stuff to bolster that.
I mean,
pitching staff.
Not just that. I mean, you still got a guy like Cedric Mullins has been around. He's still a very good player. I mean, they also brought in Adam Frazier, not the best player, but I think when right, which I think when he stays healthy, I think he is still a.
I feel like he's one of those cheap but good deals.
Yeah, that's basically how Woody explained. But overall, I mean, if I'm going to have to give him a prediction for the Orioles, I think they might go 85 to 89 games this year.
I see about 85 games.
Well, if they somehow pulled 90 games, out of their ass, which I think it is possible, which anything is possible in the game of baseball. Nothing's really kind of given for certain.
Look at the I was about to say the Indians. Whoops, wrong name, Guardians.
Yeah, we wrote that team off like in a weak test division.
We were thinking, they got a team full of rookies. They pull out a 90-win season and a division win, completely rewriting history.
And that's
we were expecting them to be one of the worst teams in the league.
But I think Well, at least we know who that team probably belongs to, and that's the Kansas City Royals. We all know
Yep.
how second worst. Sorry, Damien, but we're gonna have to put your Chicago White Sox right there as the second worst team in that division.
Yeah. It's not that we hate your team, dude. It's just
just
the
like
fact of facts, man.
y'all just have holes upon holes.
So many holes, and then you have your star players wanting to leave.
Like you lost Jose Abreu,
Yeah, you lost Jose Abreu, which was a big loss.
and Grandal has not been the same in 2 to 3 years. And people say, "Oh, he's the better." Get the hell out of here! Like this is why I would say, the numbers say that JT's a much better catcher than Grandal. Now Grandal's I know is a little bit on the older side, which is kind of understandable.
But also Yasmani Grandal had a really good year last year though. And so I can see why they say he's one of the best, but the best? No.
I mean, is he serviceable? Absolutely. I mean, just with I don't know what the White Sox. Now, granted, I mean, the White Sox do have some really good players, though. Don't get me wrong. Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert. Hey, speaking, even though Cubs fans do like seeing their their rival team choke.
Yeah, your whole rivalry is kind of like the equivalent to us with Clemson in South Carolina.
Yeah, like the in-state
rivalry.
Even though you're in the two different leagues, one's in the National League, one's in the American League, which is, and also that's the same with South Carolina. SEC taking on ACC, and obviously
the conferences, but we have a rivalry.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that is very true. Chicago has been very cheap at times. Chicago sports has been their ownership in Chicago sports has been very cheap.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. Why are all the GMs and owners cheap?
I mean,
they've got a booming city.
Like they got many. They're another good sports city. Like you should not be. That's cheap. But then again,
they're one of the big market cities.
Absolutely, and you want to. Yeah, that is true. God, we
hate each other when we play each other, dude.
There's so much shit.
Oh
man,
dude, we know how it feels because Clemson and South Carolina, when they play each other, there's so much crap talking in between the two fan bases. It's hilarious.
It really is, but that's a very good point too. It's like we're always thinking it's like you have a team like the Bulls. And this also since the fact that the Bulls is the only one of the teams in Chicago that broke away from tradition of being cheap. I mean,
yeah, I get that, but now they're being cheap again after getting DeMar DeRozan, who looks washed at this point.
And we thought DeMar DeRozan could be one of those pieces that could turn the Bulls team around.
Everybody thought that.
Same with when they brought in Lonzo, but what happened to Lonzo? He's out with a knee injury. Like what the hell? The Blackhawks, we know where they stand because of you got the 4-letter R word allegations coming and going against them in the ownership. So we'll leave it at that.
Yes.
Speaking of a Cowboys fan coming in here, hey RQ, how you feel? How you feeling?
See, but here's the thing: RQ is exactly right. No excuse for that. Excuse. Because that was a very winnable game in that. There was only 40-34. They could have won that game.
For life, who I'm really good friends with, and he's another realistic Cowboys fan, and he knows at times when Dak throws over 30 times, they seem to lose when that's the case. And I can see, I know you can definitely see it.
Yeah, here's the thing with the league. I don't know why they're so pass. The only way to win games, and it's been proven time and again by teams, you've got to mix up the run and the pass. You got to mix in the run along with the pass because run games set up the passing lanes.
Absolutely.
Every single time. Everybody knows this who watches football and who's a fan of football. The run game opens up the pass. Everyone knows this. It's common knowledge if you're a football fan.
Yeah, it's just Yeah, and that's some poor coaching too when it comes to offensive coordinators. Kellen Moore has not done
Hey,
shit.
Kellen Moore. Yes, exactly, RQ. I wish I could tell Kellen Moore that. I mean, not like I care because I'm an Eagles fan, but Kellen Moore needs to realize the run opens up the pass.
Absolutely.
You gotta run more. You've got to run more.
And the Jacksonville Jaguars run defense isn't that great, but he should have exploited that first of all.
They should have exploited that all day.
But unfortunately, but like RQ said, that God damn it, Mitch, can we not do this right now?
Mitch, enough, man, enough.
With the pickles,
dude, with the pickle thing. Enough with the SpongeBob references. I know you like SpongeBob, but let's hold that off.
And Jerry, that's a very good point. And that's why you have to keep the defense on their heels at all times.
Exactly. The run opens up the pass, and it keeps the defense honest.
And why do you think
every single time?
And why do you think Jalen Hurts has been and kind of a little bit kind of beating off the beaten path? Look at Jalen Hurts' improvement. Most of the time we still kept with the running game, but look what he's done with this team. He can beat you with the running game, but he's starting to learn how to beat you with his arm. We saw the last handful of weeks.
And it's not just him either. It's Miles Sanders. It's Kenneth Gainwell. It's those guys.
You had that supporting cast,
and it's also the quarterback draws and the RPOs. It's working for them. It's because they know that running games open up the passing games.
And now there's going to be some instances where you will play teams with the bad pass defense, a la the Tennessee Titans. There's going to be some instances where you could be pass heavy at times, depending on who you're facing. If they have
you can definitely try to carve up guys. Look at us with
Tennessee, for example.
Tennessee, we carved them up with the arm because we barely even used that. I think we barely used Miles Sanders in that game.
Or the following week, we beat Green Bay with the running game, put almost 400 yards of offense on the ground, which is fucking crazy if you ever think about it. But
you got to think too. We were also playing well with the passing game too, because like I said, and I'm going to say this again. Let me reiterate for the 15th time in the past 5 minutes, for the past 5 seconds. Running game opens up the pass.
And I say this too, Kellen Moore, if everybody's not seen Kellen Moore play when he was a quarterback in his playing days, was not the greatest. And we can see why he turned out to be a shit offensive coordinator. Now he says he has some good years, absolutely, but just most of the time, he has not been the best when it comes to. Now Dan Quinn, I think Dan Quinn can just be.
Dan Quinn's a great defensive coordinator.
Now he does have his moments
I'm going to tell you that right now. You guys have a good defensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, needs work big time.
I mean, 100%. I mean, first of all, you gotta tell CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup when he's healthy. You also have I'm sorry. Who else do they even have at wide receiver nowadays? That's only the two that I know. That's
basically all they have.
And they also
because they got rid of Amari Cooper
for pennies on the dollar. But when I looked at it, I said, really? Amari Cooper actually did pretty well with the Dallas Cowboys. I will admit that. I think he was one of their better receivers because if you still had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup when he's healthy, the Cowboys would not be in the situation where they are with those three guys. But also, and you also also put in, it depends on the quarterback play. How does Dak's going to play out? And like I said, also opens up with Kellen Moore, who's like I said got some work. But and at times too, and you can see, and we'll put the Dallas defense a little bit on the grill because they screwed me in fantasy this week. So letting up 40 points, I'm pissed about that, but that's besides the point. But I mean, and Dan Quinn does have his issues at times. We've seen the Dallas defense at times play like absolute shit, which is kind of rare, but it happens. But I think also the fact, I know this kind of sounds stupid, but I think this is also you could also. Kind of blame Michael Parsons for talking all this shit and just it just got in their heads. And at times, because they said they were overlooking. See, this is, we tell people this too. You do not want to overlook your points each and every week in the NFL because it's going to fuck you up.
Yeah, you don't want to downplay your opponents. You really don't.
I mean,
it bit us once this year. Yeah.
Absolutely. That was week 9 to be exact. Week 9.
It was week 9. It bit us because we
And then-
downplayed the opponent.
Yeah, and ever since what Micah Parsons said, what about Jalen Hurts? It kind of got into everybody's heads a little bit and just fucked everything up for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, and the Dallas Cowboys at times, and where they're also their issues, they have issues of holding leads at times. You've looked at the last couple of weeks where, like against the Colts game, they put up over 30 points, in the fourth. Last 2 weeks, not much. It's like I'm thinking to myself, what the hell's going on? Like this team, the Dallas Cowboys have as good as they are, they know how to put up like 30 plus a game. But the last 2 weeks been, combined like slightly over 50. Now, obviously, the Houston Texans, I'll give them the Texans a lot of credit for hanging in there with the Dallas Cowboys. I'll give them that. But, we don't know who the better team was in the state of Texas. That's the Dallas Cowboys. Let's keep it real here. But outside of that, it's just really looking at it. It's just like, they put up 27 against the Texas. They put up 34, or they gave up 40 to the Jaguars. Just thinking to myself, I'm thinking, what is going on? Because the fact that they're 10-4 now. At best, the way I can see this team finishing. If
what Dallas?
Yeah, I think the Dallas 10. Yeah, Dallas is 10-4.
Yeah.
But if Dallas plays the way that they're playing, especially teams like Jacksonville, at best, I think they could finish 12-4 if they don't straighten their shit up. It's actually, no, what I said, it's a 17-game season. I'm a fucking idiot. 13-4. That's what I'm thinking. Why don't I even think? Why? God, I hate this. I hate this with 17 games. Like I keep forgetting that one extra game, but it's just like, I don't know. You had, like you said, you had Pollard, you had Elliott. I think sometimes there was instances where they were nowhere to be found at times. It's just, I don't know. I really do not know. It's like I said, the NFL this year has been very unpredictable. But this week you had some blunders that you cannot script this shit. Like we mentioned, to reiterate, the Colts blowing 33-0 nothing lead against the Vikings. Now the Vikings are a good team, but they just really use the clock to their advantage. And this also sent the fact you also had a head coach like Mike McCarthy, whose clock management isn't the greatest at the same time. I think they also had, I haven't really seen it, but if you check the Mitch's, I think they had a couple timeouts. They still had 2 timeouts and shit like that. It was a 3rd and 4, like a short 3rd and 4. I think they couldn't run the football. And this is like Tyler said, this also extends to Kellen Moore's play calling at times. But in the end, if anything all goes so well, who's to say the entire NCDs can make the playoffs? But right now, we've seen a couple teams are kind of nipping at the heels of Washington. We know that Detroit's one of them. They're 7-7. Like we said, if Detroit wins out, who's to say they might knock out? That'll be funny that they just knocked out Washington. That would be. I would say it's going to be funny, but it's going to be a really good, very good season for the Detroit Lions, because after all the shit they've been through, this entire season they've been through, being a team that's, still had a hard time finding their identity. Jared Goff somehow playing what better than what he was when he came into the league, which is not say crazy, but
honestly, not really. He's playing better than what he was last year. He was always not a bad quarterback. He was with the Rams. He was really good, even when he got drafted.
Even though that was one of the worst Super Bowls in history.
Yeah, he lost the one Super Bowl, but you got to think. But the only bad year he had was last year.
Oh yeah,
and that was because he didn't have an offensive line. He didn't have receivers. This year he has it all.
A very good and a good defense too to go along with. Surprising, actually, their defense
and a really good defense, yeah.
And that's very surprising with the Detroit defense too, because if you looked at it before they fired their defensive backs coach or defensive coordinator, they were bottom ranked in defense in every single defensive category. But ever since then, there's been their secondary's been playing better. They had their entire defense is playing a top 5 defense the way that the last handful of weeks since then. It's crazy how much. But I mean, Jeff Okuda just cannot. The dude just like I like Okuda as a cornerback, but the dude just gotta stay fucking healthy. The dude just cannot stay healthy. But Jameson Williams, after getting his first touch, I mean, that's let's be real. I'll give them a huge round of applause for coming back from the torn ACL and gets his first touch on the NFL. But I mean, look, yeah, a good running game with DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams. Like I said, I mean, and Panay Sewell catching the pass too. It's like, what are we like? What the hell are we seeing right now? Like, we can't like even Dan Campbell's like, let's say, what the heck? Like I don't know what he said in this. Brown's gonna say, what are we doing? But apparently that's one way to seal the game for the Lions. But I don't know. But yeah, I mean, so far we've seen the two teams clinch the divisions. That's the 49ers and the Vikings. Now, could be 3 come Saturday.
Well,
and
we'll see what happens with that.
Yep. Because, like I said, I mean, it's crazy too. Like, meantime, because I had the team going to 12-5 at the most in terms of the records. Yeah, talk about over exceeding my expectations of being a really good football team, and still, but you know. And that's the thing too. Like, I do think the Lions can make the playoffs because I think the one way they can do it is win out. Because I think the last 3 games I think should be easy for them to win, which it's possible. That
they got a very winnable final 3 games. They really do.
But the fact that they finished 10-7, like that's impressive.
Yeah,
I would yes and no. Yes, their defense is great. Don't get me wrong.
That's what a lot of these analysts, even I agree with them with this, is that that's going to be our real test.
Like, can we beat a team like the?
And I feel like if we lose, it'll be to them.
Yeah, but
that's what I feel like.
But are we really going to lose to a guy like Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy? That's always been the biggest question.
But here's the thing: he has been playing like he's Mr. Irrelevant.
True.
So I wouldn't downplay him. I would not downplay him, Rob.
That is true. At the same time, I mean, and I'll get the 49ers a lot of credit too for a team that was actually pretty good. For having Jimmy G and Trey Lance. Because for me, I don't know. Like, do I think? Because for me, at times, I don't feel like Trey Lance is ready to lead a team like the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know. That's just me. I just feel like Trey Lance needs more time, I would say, to kind of learn the playbook a little bit, because we've seen at times like he just doesn't look like that, and I like Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G's a very serviceable quarterback, and trading for CMC, like, oh boy, that's just scary.
And that's why I said, I think in a post the other day, I said with the CMC trade, they become one of the most dynamic offenses in the league.
I mean, you got CMC, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. Like, what else can you ask for?
Exactly.
Like,
and then you have not 1, not 2, but 3 okay quarterbacks.
Yeah, even though, and that's always been one of the biggest issue with the 49ers. They always had like a good players around the team. It's always been the quarterback issue. It's always been they're obviously a bit of a bugaboo the last few years or so. But I mean, it's just, God, what else even? Yeah, it's been. I mean, yeah, I think Purdy's good enough at the same time, but like we said, I mean, there's going to be times where we see backups like Brock Purdy or Mike White kind of shit the bed, even though technically not really, but when he has a good stat line, but the team still doesn't play.
I don't think we've seen Brock Purdy shit the bed yet. I really don't think
we've
seen Mike White completely screw up games.
It was so with a good stat line at the same time.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, like I said, I know mostly this show was mostly NFL because, like we said, MLB's coming right around the corner. We're getting ready. Spring training should be, I think, it's in a couple months now that I think about it. Holy crap.
Yeah, February.
Holy shit.
But yeah, it's only been mostly NFL stuff because not a lot of like newsworthy MLB or NBA stuff was happening this week. So
It's just been, I mean, MLB, there's been small signings left and right. I mean, so that Turner went to the Boston. We saw Seth Lugo going to the Padres. Dansby Swanson going to the Cubs. So all the free agent shortstops that were part of this year's class are finally respective teams. But like Tyler said, I mean, there's just hardly been anything baseball news. It's just like everyone's kind of geared up and ready for spring training at this point.
There's nothing. There's nothing. So,
and then that's the reason why we don't really do between lines as often as we used as often we do, because there's no news. I mean, but with that being said, like I said, the NFL really good year, the surprising year this year for a lot of teams. Detroit finally actually trying to fight their way back into playoff contention. I mean, the Jets are still good. I mean, I think people say Jets let us playoff hope. Yes, another one playoff, that one game should have been true, but me and Tyler are not hockey fans because we know where the Flyers stand because they suck. But I mean, with the spring coming along too, like I said, we got the USFL coming up as well, which is honestly, if you're not watching the USFL, please do, because it's a very interesting league. It's a very, you really be surprised of, we've seen guys come for the USFL and actually get, a lot of teams take notice of guys in the USFL. A lot of people, you'll be surprised. Kevontae Turpin, even though he's kind of Mr. Butterfield. God, I fucking hate him so much when he was the Generals. So screw the New Jersey Generals. I hope my Stars can sweep their ass this upcoming season because I cannot stand them.
Dude, we don't have nothing, so you probably could.
I mean, especially Kevontae Turpin. I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Probably one of the better special teams guys that I've seen in the USFL. And I'll give Case Cookus a lot of fucking credit last year too. I mean, for a guy that took over it was actually their backup, actually leads to a team to a USFL almost wins the USFL championships. Like, damn. But I mean, and obviously the WNBA coming up in May, which is going to be fun because we're going to be doing a lot more coverage of that and the XFL too at the same time. So we got some more interesting other content coming in 2023. Obviously, definitely there's going to be more Phillies live play-by-plays, that's for sure, because, hey, we ain't dumb enough. I ain't going to be that dumb enough to, well, I don't know, because unfortunately it's, sorry, it sucks. Well, I won't say sucks to be Tyler because he's got stuck with New England sports, but I mean.
The problem is I'm not really stuck because I don't have the networks to even watch them, so it's like whatever.
True, but I mean, it's just
anyway, yeah, I got to go, bro.
But with that being said, we're going to wrap it up.
Do the intro and then I'm out.
But with that being said, we'll see you guys on the next episode.